A very warm welcome to all of you in today's webinar, The Learning Code, Neuroscience-Backed L&D Strategies. I'm glad that so many of us wants to understand what's this neuroscience-backed L&D strategies that can actually uh, help make the learning stick. Okay, so we are also excited to explore how this can transform the way we design and deliver the learning experiences, making them more engaging, more effective, and more impactful. Now, for making this more impactful, there are few things that I want to share before we start. Few housekeeping things. Uh, First, if you want to share something, you want to ask something to our speaker today, feel free to unmute and ask your question. If you can write down your question in the chat, I'll be helping Preeti to read those questions to her. That should also be fine. However, we love to see some beautiful faces. So I would sincerely request all of you to please keep your cameras on if that is okay with you. Now, let me introduce you to someone, the one who is going to lead us through today's webinar. And we are somebody who is very inspiring speaker among our community. Now, she started her journey as a civil engineer, but found her true calling in L&D. With over 15 years of experience and 1,000 plus sessions under her belt, she brings deep expertise in behavioral and leadership development. What sets her apart, you ask? It's her passion for behavioral science, neuroscience, and how she uses it to spark the real mindset shifts for the learners. Now, she is also a trained classical vocalist, a certified music coach, a music therapy student, and blogger, and of course, a proud army wife, constantly blending art, science, and life into everything she is doing. Please join us in welcoming Preethi Rao from our GwS community. I hand over the floor to you, Preethi, now.
Thank you, Ishita. That introduction felt so nice. Thank you so much. I think I'm going to ask you to do my introduction slide from next time when I'm
I would
delivering.
love to.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for taking out time to join today. And I'm going to try my best to make sure the next 1.5 to 2 hours you spend with me is worth it. And you have very clear takeaways on how we can make learning more fun and effective. So today's session, the learning code, we're going to be deep diving on aspects of neuroscience that can help us facilitate learning better. Okay, let me ask you a question. How many of you are distracted by these floating numbers and letters on the screen? You can just raise your hand in the video or maybe use the raise hand option. How many of you were distracted? We're trying to focus between this and that. A few of you? Yes, sorry, this was not supposed to be my first slide. This was supposed to be my first slide. That was just a black demo technique to show how small things make a difference in the entire learning experience for our learners, right? Things, nuances, intricacies. Is somebody trying to say something? Okay, so how these small nuances actually make a lot of difference in attention, in learning, and in the entire learning experience itself. So today's session, the learning code, we deep dive into that and we understand how our brain functions, how it learns, so we can facilitate the same. I had a very nice slide on my introduction, but I think Ishra did an amazing job, so I'm not going to jump into this. She's covered most of it. I think except one, I'm also an entrepreneur. I have my own online music school, and I'm a co-founder and CXO of OG Musafirs, where I design travel experiences for my client, people who love visiting different places, different experiences, cultures. That is what I design. And of course, I'm a proud army wife. So from being a civil engineer to a behavioral trainer, and now what interested me to deep dive into behavioral neuroscience, I have a story to share with all of you how this actually happened. I was actually actually working on content for a topic called gender intelligence for one of my clients a few years ago. where I actually stumbled upon a very interesting fact from neuroscience, the behavioral neuroscience, which actually blew my mind. So let me first narrate the story and then go to the climax. So, how many women in the session here today? I see Priyanka, Ishita, Pradeepa, Akshata. Okay, I see a few men too. So, all the women in the audience, how many of you have asked the men in your life? It can be your husband, your friend, your father, your brother. What are you thinking? I see a lot of you smiling. I was hoping for that reaction. And how many? Okay, Pradeepa has raised her hand. And the men in the cohort, have you been asked this question quite a lot of times? What are you thinking? Yes, mainly by the women
Yes.
most of the time. I understand. Yes. What is the response you get, ladies?
Nah, nothing.
Nothing. Men,
Nothing,
do you
or
all
he
agree that
just
is the
sings
reaction?
mentally something, some song in his
Okay.
head. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
No, we say nothing important.
Nothing important, right? And uh, I think this is the exact response I've got every single time I've shooted this question to my husband, and I've always retaliated. How can you not think anything? It is impossible. You have to be thinking. You're not just not telling me. This has been my argument every single time till I stumbled upon this fact from neuroscience. So this is a brain scan of a male brain at rest versus a brain scan of a female brain at rest. All right. So the blue sections you see in the scan are the ones that are active or functional. So when I saw this, it really blew my mind and I realized, oh my God, men are capable of not thinking anything. They have something called a nothing box that my friend who's logged in here today, Balaji, thank you for joining, told me about later when I was discussing this with him. So men have something called a nothing box. The men's brain is wired in a way that they are capable of not thinking to a very large extent, which is completely impossible for women. Do you all agree, ladies? Even when we are resting, we are constantly thinking, what should I make tomorrow? Did I send that email to the client? Did I really close the door properly? We have a lot of things running in our head. So after I stumbled upon this fact from neuroscience, my entire approach of how I communicated with the other gender changed. My thinking changed, my behavioral patterns changed. And this got me thinking, if neuroscience backing and a fact could actually convince me to change my way of talking to other gender, specifically in this aspect, why not deep dive and understand how our brain can be rewired in order to bring about behavioral change? So this is the story. This is how I deep dive into behavioral neuroscience and I started thinking about learning. This is called meta learning, learning how we learn, learning how our brain learns, and how we can actually use this on the basis of neuroscience to facilitate learning better. All right. Was that something that will stay with all of you? That brain scan? Yes? Okay. Okay. I hope so. So what is neuroscience? Neuroscience is basically study of nervous system, everything from your brain to spinal cord to all the sensory nerve cells, the neurons. They all comprise a study of all these parts is nothing but neuroscience. But what is behavioral neuroscience? Behavioral neuroscience is understanding what our brain is doing or how the brain chemicals actually impact how we think, feel, learn, how we respond to situations, how we maybe take decisions, think, all of that. All right, now I'm going to pause. Do any of you have anything that you agree or disagree with in whatever I've said so far? You can unmute and shoot. I'm here to learn from each one of you, so I'm going to look forward to more thoughts coming my way from all of you as well. Any questions? Okay. So one question I've always got when I'm talking about behavioral neuroscience to people is, how is it different from psychology? So psychology is basically looking into what we do and why, whereas behavioral neuroscience is learning what's happening in our brain while I'm doing maybe task A, B, C, D, E, F, G. That is the difference. And this one simple Venn diagram gave me a lot of clarity. So neuroscience is basically understanding brain and its functioning. Psychology is understanding mind and behavior. Pedagogy, as L&D professionals, all of us know is the science behind learning. And what we are going to concentrate on today is the intersection of these three areas. That's neuroeducation. How can we use basics or concepts of neuroscience to bring about mindset change to facilitate learning? So neuroeducation is what we deep dive into, and I hope this is something that will interest all of you and will make your next 1.5 hour or 2 hours worth it. Okay, so the first step in doing this is by busting those learning myths that have been running around in the facilitator community for a very long time, thinking this is how we learn. We're going to bust it. But before we do that, I want to introduce a few basic brain basics, sorry. I'm going to be using a few jargons around different parts of the brain, what it does, etc. So I just want all of you to be familiar with what it stands to be. It's a very simple slide. Don't worry, I'm not going to bore you with too many concepts and dictionary words here. We just have to remember these are four very important parts of our brain, which falls in the forebrain area and is responsible for very important things that we do. Okay, so thalamus is basically the sensory relay station. Basically, it passes on information from one part of the brain to another. The prefrontal cortex is the logical center of the brain, which basically does all your thinking, all the heavy lifting, I might say. The decision making, the focus, planning, self control, all of this happens in prefrontal cortex. Okay, I see somebody raising their hand. Kartikeya, did you have anything to? Okay.
Yeah, no, ma'am. Sorry, continue.
No problem. Okay. The amygdala is the emotion center of the brain, basically where how we respond to fear, threat, the fight and flight response, the basically where your emotions originate from. And hippocampus is the memory center, where your short-term memory is stored, how new memories that you pick up, information you pick up is organized and linked to so many old memories that you have. Simple. Just these four terminologies you remember. I assure you anything and everything I say in the next few slides, you will be able to understand. All right, so now let's jump into this activity. I'm going to be bringing up a few statements on the screen. You will tell me whether it's a myth or a fact. These are all related to learning, of course. So let's bring on the first one. Logical people use their left brain and creative people use their right. This is a myth or a fact.
It's
Yes,
a fact.
Yogita?
It's a
It's a
fact.
fact. Okay.
It's a fact.
Okay.
Yes.
Anyone else? Do you all agree it's a
Yes.
fact?
Yes, it's a fact.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. Though that is a very popular statement among the facilitator community, it is a myth to a very great extent. In fact, research have shown that it is not true that only certain part of the brain, only left side of the brain is active when you're doing a specific action. Most of the parts of your brain are active. While certain brain functions may be more active in one hemisphere, both sides of the brain work together for us to take decisions. You cannot say I'm going to switch off the the emotional part of my brain and only take a decision based on the facts. Both of them are going to be active. This was a shocker for me as well when I started learning and started deep diving into neuroscience. But yes, this is a myth. I'm sorry. Next, lectures are the go-to method for delivering learnings. That is why it has been adapted traditionally in institutes for generations. Myth or a fact? Okay, there's no right or wrong answer, guys. You can take a guess, no problem. Is it myth or a fact? I
Fact.
think a fact. Okay.
Yes.
Fact.
I also think it's a fact.
Okay, so
Yes,
it is a
fact.
fact that it has been adapted over generations in all our educational institutes, but that is not the only way to do it. That is why you have gamification, you have experiential learning, simulations today, because we are exposed to very different type of content, right? From millennials to Gen Z, I think there's a big transition on how we learn. We have so much video content coming our way. Our brains are also evolving. Our brains are evolving to consume different types of information in different forms. So it is a myth Though lecturing is a very good form for fundamental knowledge, but for it to be retained, for it to be translated into application in various roles that you're in at work, it is not a very effective way. It can be part of the entire learning journey, but not a standalone by itself. Okay, I just have a few more. I just gave away the answer. Okay, exercising helps you grow new brain cells even when you're an adult. Yogita saw it. Okay, Yogita. It is a fact. Yes, it is. It is. Researchers have proved that physical exercise and even meditation to a very large extent can promote neurogenesis, formation of new neurons, which in your hippocampus, which is your memory center of the brain, right? So it does better your memory keeping capacity, your retention of what you've learned, etc. Okay, last two. Reading and highlighting key facts help you learn and revise.
Myth.
For
It's
me, it
fact.
is fact.
A few say fact, a few say myth. I'm very happy with
It's a
all of you
fact.
responding. Thank you. So I will say I put a myth, but I'll say it's like 50-50. It does help you, maybe helps you with some visual memory for a short-term memory, but again, researchers have shown that this is the least effective way of studying, actually, compared to many others. So it might not be again a standalone technique you should use, but when you combine it with many other learning methods and techniques to learn, it can be really effective. Okay, so the last one. Learning is difficult for adults because it's difficult to learn after a certain age.
Fact.
Fact. Okay.
Myth.
Rupa, you were saying something. Sorry, we couldn't hear you. You were on mute. Yeah.
I say
Myth.
it's a myth. We can,
It's a
if it
myth.
is required at
Anyone
any age, you will
can
learn. You should know
It's
that
a
it is
myth,
required.
I guess.
Okay, so we have mixed responses here. A few of you are saying myth and a few of you are saying fact. The answer is it is a myth. We are capable of learning at any age. To answer this, to reinforce what I said, I would like to play a video for all of you on the concept of neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is the answer why that last statement of learning is difficult for adults is a myth. Let me play it for all of you. I will have to enable my audio. Just allow me a second. Yes. Can you all hear the audio as well? Did you hear that music when I played it?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
perfect.
Yes. Yes.
Not so long ago, many scientists believed that the brain did not change after childhood, that it was hardwired and fixed by the time we became adults. But recent advances in only the last decade now tell us that this is simply not true. The brain can and does change throughout our lives. It is adaptable, like plastic. Hence, neuroscientists call this neuroplasticity. How does neuroplasticity work? If you think of your brain as a dynamic, connected power grid, there are billions of pathways or roads lighting up every time you think, feel, or do something. Some of these roads are well-travelled. These are our habits, our established ways of thinking, feeling, and doing. Every time we think in a certain way, practice a particular task, or feel a specific emotion, we strengthen this road. It becomes easier for our brains to travel this pathway. Say we think about something differently, learn a new task, or choose a different emotion. We start carving out a new road. If we keep travelling that road, our brains begin to use this pathway more, and this new way of thinking, feeling, or doing becomes second nature. The old pathway gets used less and less and weakens. This process of rewiring your brain by forming new connections and weakening old ones is neuroplasticity in action. The good news is that we all have the ability to learn and change by rewiring our brains. If you have ever changed a bad habit or thought about something differently, you have carved a new pathway in your brain and experienced neuroplasticity firsthand. With repeated and directed attention towards your desired change, you can rewire your brain.
So do you all agree? Now, do you all agree that learning can happen at any age? I think it's not the brain that is stopping us, it's our mindset. A lot of times, mindset is what holds us back from learning and adapting to different things around us. And I think as a learning professional who designs and delivers behavioral and leadership trainings, that is one challenge I've always faced while delivering sessions to leadership adults, people who have good enough experience in their careers, is the mindset. That becomes the biggest roadblock. They think they are not capable of learning, or they think they do not have to learn. And that is what stops us from moving ahead and adapting to the new technology. It can be AI today, right? So now I want to understand from all of you, as people in the L&D field, you might be designing training programs, implementing them, or even delivering them. What are the few challenges that you all face? I request all of you to scan this QR code on the screen. As soon as you scan it, it's going to take you to the Mentimeter page, where you will get an option to plug in 3 challenges that you're facing. And I'm going to magically make that appear on my screen with the help of this Mentimeter tool, which is very interesting. So you have an option to share 3 challenges that you face at work when you're maybe designing training programs. It can be while implementing or while delivering sessions as well. Please plug it in and submit, and it will appear in my word cloud here.
Can you bring that back?
Oh,
the
so sorry.
scanner?
I didn't realize I took that off. 1 second. Yes, here is the QR code. If the QR code doesn't work, which shouldn't happen, you can go to menti.com and also put this code. That will help you reach the same page. Did you all get an access to this? Are you able to access it?
Yeah.
Okay, great. I'm bringing that off because I want to see what you have all submitted already. Okay, I'm receiving responses now. Handling disinterest, short attention span. Okay. I got 1 response. Can you type the code here? Yes. Let me do one thing. I'm going to quickly keep juggling between the QR code and that. The code is 51370696. Or the easier way is to use the QR code. I'm going to keep juggling between that and this. Yes, handling. Okay, hesitation, learning, retention. Okay, great. This is the code. I can read it out. 51370696. I think a few of them are not able to use the link. I'm just going to quickly resend parallelly. Okay. Are you all done? Okay. I've received good enough responses here. So engagement of participants, handling disinterest, attention, retention, consistency, poor participation, evaluation, know-it-all attitude. I completely agree. Marketing, right? Okay, very true. Hesitation. Okay, perfect. I'm overwhelmed with all the responses. Thank you so much. I think all of you are actively responding and asking questions. At any point, if you agree or disagree with what I'm saying, please feel free to mute and ask. I'm here to have start discussions with all of you. Perfect. So, yes, did somebody want to share something? Okay, great. So I've gone through the challenges that all of you have shared on the screen. It's in a word cloud right here. Flow, okay, distraction. I hope the following slides and the discussions we have will help you address these challenges. In fact, we will come back to this word cloud at the end and see how we've been able to address. If we do not, please connect with me separately on LinkedIn too. I will try and address them later, if not in the session. Okay, so perfect. Is my screen visible to all of you? Can you see the ages model slide on the screen? Perfect, thank you. So this is a age-old model, ages model, tried and tested, that helps us understand how our brain learns. So we are going to deep dive into this model, and also at the end of the session, I'm not here to just give you frameworks. I'm going to give you a very simple thumb rule on how to make sessions more sticky. That is the outcome of the entire discussion that we are planning to achieve today. All right. So coming to the Aegis model was developed by the Neuro Leadership Institute by David Rock and his colleagues. This is a very simple neuroscience-based framework which actually talks about 4 important ingredients for long-term learning. They are attention, generation, emotion, and spacing. That is what AGES stands for. Attention, generation, emotion, and spacing. All right. So let us first deep dive into attention. Can you all see my screen? Yes. Okay. So I want all of you to share one instance from the recent times when you have been in the shoes of a learner. I know we all deliver sessions. We are all L&D professionals here. But let's put ourselves in the shoes of the learner. When you were sitting in a training session like today, and you had this expression on your face. Can you all think of one instance? I really hope it's not today. That is why I said from recent times, not now. Okay. So when you had this zoned out expression on your face.
So when the training is not so interactive, so this expression comes out.
Right. Do you remember when it happened recently for you?
Yeah, recently. I mean, not very recently, but 3 weeks ago.
Okay, thank you. Then it's not today. Thanks. Okay. Anyone else would like to share a funny story when you had this expression on your face when you were sitting in a training session as a learner? Anyone? Okay, no problem. Let me talk about an experiment that was conducted by Professor Timothy Wilson, okay, in 2015, around 10 years ago, where he gave a group of people, around 50 to 60 people, an option to either be bored for 15 minutes or opt for an electric shock. Is this a no-brainer choice? Either be bored for 15 minutes or opt, or you either choose this or choose an electric shock. What would you have chosen? Let's hear from all of you. What would you have chosen?
I'll prefer to get bored.
Bored? Yogita, bored? Is that what you would
Bored.
choose? Okay,
Bored.
Balaji says bored. Ishita also says bored. But the shocking results, majority of them chose electric shock over just 15 minutes of boredom. That's how painful boredom can be. And I think this is a face, a picture, an image. I want all of you to take a mental picture of this. You should remember how painful boredom can be in a learning session or anywhere for that matter. Because boredom basically leads to mind wandering. And once the mind starts wandering, we start thinking about different things. And when you have to come back to what is happening in the session, you will have to switch task. Basically, your mind will have to switch from your wandering place wherever you were in Italy or Paris or London, and you'll have to come back to the training session. So what happens when we switch task? What happens when your mind has to switch from one task to another? Just so I don't have to see the same boredom faces, I have a very interesting activity for all of you for which I want volunteers. All right. So I think Ishta's already told all of you that I also sing. So there is going to be a little music in any session I do. So I want volunteers who can sing 2 lines of their favorite song for me, please. Just 2 lines. Oh, when I said music, I'm not going to sing. I'm going to make others sing. Sorry.
I think you are going to sing for us.
No. I'm the facilitator. So I facilitate everybody else's singing today. Yes, anyone. It can be a one line or a two line. Just 2 lines would do. Anyone?
Preethi? Already
Yes,
there is some
Balaji.
background noise here, so if people can bear with that, and also my singing.
Of course, please, please. Go ahead. 2 lines.
என்னவளே அடி என்னவளே எந்தன் இதயத்தை தொலைத்து விட்டேன் எந்த இடம் அது தொலைந்த இடம் அந்த இடத்தையும் மறந்து விட்டேன் உந்தன் கால் கொலுசில் அது தொலைந்ததென்று உந்தன் காலடி தேடி வந்தேன் காதல் என்றால் பெரும் அவஸ்தை என்று உன்னை கண்டதும் கண்டு கொண்டேன் எங்கள் கழுத்து வரை இந்த காதல் வந்து இரு கண் விழி பிதுங்கி நின்றேன். Thank you for teaching me.
Oh my God, great. Thank you, Balaji. Thank you so much. You made me proud. Thank you. But the activity is not
Right.
over yet. So firstly, Balaji is a CELTA certified language trainer, communication coach, in fact, and also learns music from me. So I'm very happy. Balaji, thank you for singing. So the activity doesn't end here. Balaji, can you read the series of numbers on the screen for me, please?
Sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
I think that's good.
Okay.
I think I made it too long. I think 10 would do. Okay, now I want you to call out one number from the series in the same order and sing maybe one word from your song. It is 1 in, 2 navale, 3 adi, 4 in. I want you to do that.
I mean, you want that to match with the word order?
Yes,
The song?
you will basically say one number and alternate it with one word from the song. Basically, the song also continues, but it's broken with the numbers coming in between.
Okay.
Okay.
1.
Sorry for putting you on the
Yen,
spot.
2. 2 avale, 3 adi, 4 enavale, 5.
Okay.
I don't remember.
Okay, fine. Thank you so much for volunteering for this. Anybody else wants to give it a try? Just for the fun of it. You can pick a nursery rhyme if you don't want a song. Anyone else?
Yeah,
Okay.
I can try. Like,
Oh, yes. Yogita, yes. Thank you. That's very sportive. Please.
twinkle, twinkle, little star.
Okay. So now you'll alternate it with the numbers for us. Yes, please.
Yeah. 1 twinkle, 2 twinkle, 3 little, 4 star, 5 up, 6 above, 7 in, 8 the, 9 sky.
Okay, did you write that down? That was pretty quick. Wow, great. Okay, very nice. Thank you, Balaji and Yogita, for participating so sportively. Now, let me ask you some questions. How did you feel when you had to? Sorry?
Okay,
Does-
thank you.
No, no. Does somebody want to try? Give it a try. Volunteer for this. Okay.
Mona, were you saying something?
Sorry, I did
Yes,
not
that's okay.
catch who unmuted themselves.
Ishita, I think she's speaking. Ishita.
Hey, Ishita, do you want to give it a try?
No, I was actually asking Mohana, who actually unmuted herself. I thought she wanted to try this once.
Okay, okay. So let me quickly ask Yogita and Balaji, how did you feel when you had to switch between the song and the numbers?
Yeah.
Put on the spot, as you said.
Okay, I put you on the spot. Okay, when you had to do it, how did you feel?
It need
Difficult.
more consciousness basically. When I was alone singing, it was like from my unconscious pattern. But when I have to match two things, I have to be very conscious.
Right, right. So basically, you had to put in more effort when you had to switch between both. Yes? Okay,
Yes, yes.
great. Balaji, when I put you on the spot, how did you feel?
Yeah, I was like, did I, was I too enthusiastic to volunteer early?
Okay. So did you also feel a stress, or did you get frustrated after a point
Yeah, it
when you had to
was
continue?
difficult, and I was not able to match the words and
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, the numbers and the words. So it was. I wanted to. I wanted to. I wanted it to get over soon. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you, Yogita. Thank you, Balaji. So now let's understand what basically we made Balaji and Yogita do, or I made rather, was switch task. Deliberately switch task between two things, which actually we do a lot of times to our brain every single day. Maybe it's not like a song and a number, but we keep switching between work and the phone and Instagram and maybe something in the kitchen for people working from home. So let's understand what exactly happens in our brain when we are switch tasking. Okay, what is the neural cost of switch tasking? So every time, considering a scenario, you're in a learning session, you zone out and you're wondering, you're thinking about where to go this weekend, which movie to watch, and suddenly the facilitator puts you on the spot like I did, right? And you're pulled back into the session. What happens? Every time you have to switch between one task to another, your brain, the two parts in your brain, that's the anterior cortex and the parietal lobe, gets activated, which is responsible for conflict monitoring and task orientation. As soon as you're switching from one to another, your brain detects there is some conflict happening and the anterior cortex is activated, and immediately the parietal lobe is trying to reorient you to what you have to concentrate on that point of time or that minute, because we keep switching every minute nowadays, right? So this activation of two parts actually consumes a lot of glucose in your body. Okay, and it also takes you some time to be able to start the task you've switched to newly. When this happens, your prefrontal cortex, which is the logical center of your brain, where all the thinking and decision happen, the weightlifting that your brain is doing, it becomes tired and it's not able to process the information that you are trying to process, which is nothing but which is called cognitive bottleneck. In simple terms, we say brain fog. We say my brain is jammed. I'm not able to think. I'm not able to process anything. I'm not able to think straight. That is your basically your body telling you, girl, slow down. You're using too much glucose in this entire switch tasking. All right. And as soon as your body gets to know that there is more glucose intake, more. Sorry? Kazan, do you have anything to share with us? Kazan, can you go on mute if you're not talking to us, please? Thank you. So as soon as your brain realizes there is more glucose being consumed, the hypothalamus, which is your basically your radio center of your brain, releases cortisol to increase the blood glucose level, blood sugar level, for you to get that quick energy so you're able to do the task. And when that happens, we all know cortisol is the stress hormone. It brings down your happiness hormone, that's your dopamine. So I know this is a lot of information to process and assimilate. You don't have to remember any of the jargons on the slide. Please just picture the number of arrow marks on the slide. That's more than enough. That's how much chaos we are creating in our brain every time we are switch tasking. And that is why our brain becomes tired and we are not able to make decisions, think straight, and we just, it leads to burnout basically. All right, so attention, the switch tasking is, I can say, the antonym for paying attention. We cannot fool ourselves that we are multitasking, switch tasking, and still being productive. You are not. On a long run, your brain is going to be extremely burnt out and tired. You will start waking up tired every day and you will not realize it's because of all the switch tasking you've been doing. All right, so the opposite of being able to learn well is zoning out. Zoning out leads to switch tasking. So it's very, very important for us as learning professionals to ensure our learners don't zone out, they do not switch task or multitask in the entire learning process. That is how we can actually ensure attention during the session, which facilitates learning. All right, are you all with me, or was it too complicated? Are you all with me? Yes? Okay, great.
Yes.
So simple.
Yep.
Great. So simple takeaways on how we can ensure A of the ages model, that's attention. Please always keep in mind when you're designing a training program or delivering, the sustained focus limit of an adult is not more than 20 minutes. So you have to break the monotony. You will have to bring in some activity so we do not lose their attention and they don't zone out. Right? So very important. Next, monk mode, very important. I think Ishita called this out in the beginning of the session today. Monk mode is making sure you switch off all gadgets that can cause distraction. It's not just gadgets, things around you that can also cause distraction. Please ensure you call this out in the beginning of the session so they understand it is a huge factor in ensuring, your learning journey is effective or not. And please break the monotony. So you avoid people zoning out. And breaking monotony can happen through a fun activity, can happen through colorful slides, suddenly some interesting movement on the slide, animation. There are many, many ways. I'm sure we can figure it out, but it's a very, very important aspect of making learning easy for our learners. All right, all of you with me? Shall we jump to the second?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. So the next part of ages model is generation. So generation basically means the network, the connections in your brain, how things connect to each other, just like what you're seeing on the screen. So our brain is basically a pattern seeking organ. It looks for familiar patterns. It wants to connect new things to something that is already familiar and stored in our hippocampus. So the more connections we provide in our learning journey, the better people are able to learn, the better the brain is able to find that coherence and store it. Okay. Okay. Now I'm going to stop sharing and I want to play a audio for all of you. How many Gen Zs in the audience? Gen Zs, people who are born in the Tata Sky age, not in the cable TV age. Okay, Kartikeya. I will give you a different example because this might not sound very familiar, but please stay with us. Okay. I'm going to play an audio for all of you.
We can't hear.
Oh, you can't hear it? So sorry. I
No.
was enjoying the music all by myself. All this while. I'm so sorry. Just allow me a minute. So sorry. Okay. Can you hear it now?
Yes.
Sounds familiar?
That
I
was
see a lot of you smiling.
nostalgic.
Yes.
Nostalgic. Okay. Where did this music take you all?
When TV was
Childhood.
peaceful.
Childhood? Okay, perfect. So Kartikeya, I will play another audio for you. Just give me some time. I want all of you to close your eyes now. I want all of you to close your eyes now. The activity is not over. Okay, please close your eyes. I'm going to be playing this again. Okay, so you are all in your childhood right now. Think of a Sunday morning during your childhood. You wake up in your normal Sunday morning waking up time. All right. You wash your face. You walk to the living room. You see all elders sitting with a newspaper and reading newspapers. Okay. And you see the TV. Rangoli is playing. You have retro songs playing on the TV, right? Okay. So, and then you immediately go to the kitchen. Your mom, your dad, your aunt, whoever is cooking, and they are making the morning beverage. So, if you are from South India, you will see filter coffee, your mom or dad making filter coffee, right? If you're from North India, South India, that North India, the kadak chai that you have in the morning with Mari biscuit, right? Can you all imagine that? I see a lot of you smiling. Great. Please open your eyes. How many of you could smell the coffee or the chai or the Bonvita? Okay, Kartikeya could too. How many of you could smell it when I said the filter coffee? Priyanka raises her hand. Okay. I want a few of you to unmute and tell me. Did you smell the coffee or the chai or the Bonvita that you would have in the morning? Or the Milo for all the millennials? Yes? Okay, perfect. So just like how memories can bring back smells, touch, things that you see, right? The other way around is also very, very, very true. Do you all agree? Have you walked into a hotel and felt very, very comfortable and familiar immediately? Most of the hotels have, for example, hotel chains like Hyatt, Marriott, they use the same fragrance across all their hotels across the world because when you walk in, they want you to feel, get that familiarity smell and feel at home and comfortable automatically, right? So just like how the other way happened, connecting smell to memories is also a very, very strong neural connection. Okay, whether you going back to your childhood, remembering from the Doordarshan took you back to your childhood immediately from the sound, right? The music. You immediately imagined a Sunday morning Rangoli song, mom's kitchen, coffee, tea. These are all not just nostalgia. These are powerful sensory based learning techniques. You can actually bring out memories from way, way before just through a smell or one of the sensory triggers basically. And it's very, very important we bring these in our learning design because it helps in better retention. Trust me, how many ever years or months later, you will still remember this activity of the filter coffee and the Doordarshan we did today because you smelt it even without it being in front of you. It triggered so many memories in your mind. So we have to connect things, learning new concepts to things that are already stored in our mind for it to retain in our minds for longer. So this is the second concept of the AGES model, generation. How do you generate those neural connections and what are the different ways you can use? All right. Are you all with me? Is this making
Yes.
sense? Is it interesting? Can you give me a thumbs up if it is?
Lovely.
Okay. People who are not on camera, you can give me a thumbs up so I know you're all with me. Okay, great. So, how do we bring coherence when we are facilitating sessions? So it all sits together like a puzzle that you see on the screen. Because coherence is what actually enhances the neural connections, which aids memories in our brain. All right. So very simple way, especially for adult learning, for corporates, I would say, connect the new concepts to familiar scenarios they experience at work on everyday basis. So next time they feel the same, they experience the same scenario, you're learning your concept, the framework, the heavy lifting concepts that you've taught will get triggered in their mind and they think of applying it. All right. So that is why role plays, bringing in case studies, relevant discussions is very, very, very important because it strengthens the long-term memory in your hippocampus. All right. All of you with me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, let's go to the third part of the ages model, that is the emotion. So now I've been doing a lot of talking. I want to hear from each one of you. We have all the time. I want to know a milestone moment from your professional life. It could have happened yesterday, last month, last year, 10 years ago, no problem. But I want you to narrate that milestone with us. Okay. Let's talk to someone who hasn't spoken yet. Himani Oberoi, are you with us? I'm so sorry, I'm calling out names, but I wanted to hear everybody's voice. So, Himani, are you there? Okay. I see Liza is here. Hi, Liza. Thank you for joining. Would you want to share a recent milestone from your professional life with us?
Hi, Preeti.
Hey, Liza.
Hey, thanks for this lovely session. It's been so engaging so far.
Thank you.
And of course, milestone would be when, I was able to complete a learning fair within the current organization twice, and this happened in Jan of 2024.
Okay. Oh, so what was the fair about if you would like to share with us?
It was just employee engagement on various
Okay.
levels of skill based, physical based,
Okay.
more of turnaround in terms of just having fun, and it was more of a culmination of the L&D year.
Great. Great. Congratulations on that milestone. And thank you so much for sharing that with us. Thank you.
Most welcome.
Okay. Anyone else we would like to hear? A milestone that is very close to your heart, maybe that you want to share with us from professional life. Yes, Rupa. Yes, please go ahead.
Hi, Preeti. Thanks for this session so far. It's very interesting. I have
Thank
noted
you.
down quite a few points.
Okay.
Okay, so I am in my career 2.0, which means the last 12 months, I'm trying to transition to a freelancer role. So which means I'm coming from a corporate to a freelancer. So in this, I have picked up couple of projects. So one of the milestone moment that is more relevant is I wanted to give back my experience, my struggles that what I had when I was looking for an employment when I had come from a small town. So I work with one of the NGO. So the moment is I completed 50 mentoring sessions last month. So,
Oh, wow. That is amazing. Congrats on that
thank you.
milestone. Great.
Thank
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that with us, Rupa. Great. Anyone else who wants to share? Anyone else? We would love to share. We would love to know. Okay. So, Rupa and Liza, thank you so much for sharing that story with us. And I think in what both of you shared, I think there was a lot of specificity in what you shared. I think Liza called out the month and the year when that event happened. She called that out, and you also gave us very clear timelines on when you started working on it and when you reached the milestone. So, do you all agree? Yes. So, what I'm trying to say is when we are emotionally connected to something, we remember every small detail, whether it's a milestone, a happy moment. It can be something that's moved us. Uh, uh, it can be grief as well, right? A lot of times, anything that gives us a very high emotional arousal, we remember every small detail around it. Do you all agree? Do you still remember that first day of your first job? How you felt, right? The first time you stood there and facilitated your first session, the content that you worked on. Yes, Liza says absolutely. We all remember that, right? Yes, that is because, again, I'm back with neuroscience backing for this. When we feel very emotional or there's an emotional arousal, positive, I will say, This activates the hippocampus in our brain, which again accelerates the formation of new memories. And again, when there's an emotional arousal, this increases the dopamine in our body, which again strengthens the memory traces. So not only new memories are formed, but they find links automatically in your brain to something that's happened before or something that is connected to this event. And it's easier for your mind to retrieve it at any point of time. Yes, so that is why anything that you're emotionally connected to actually stays in your mind to every small, to the minutest detail for the long, long time without even you putting any effort. I think this is one curve all of us would be completely aware of, the Yerkes-Dodson law, which says the optimal amount of emotional arousal gives optimal performance. Even if that emotional arousal is a little lower on the left or the right side, the performance drops. It is that optimal, perfect amount of emotion that actually pushes your brain to absorb like a sponge and retain what it's absorbed as well. All right, so this is a very well known concept. I'm sure all of us will know. In fact, this was used in the 1990s to a very large extent. Well, I'll not say used, I'll say leveraged to bring about competitive pressure in workplaces. So basically, they thought, okay, we need that amount of optimal stress, the use stress that you call the good stress, optimal arousal that actually can better performance at work. But sadly, we don't realize when it moves from the peak to low, when it turns from use stress to distress, and because distress is an enemy of learning. You cannot learn, absorb, assimilate, process anything under stress. That is the exact opposite of what you can do to facilitate learning. So another very important point to keep in mind when we are designing and delivering training sessions, we have to ensure people are not worried about something else. They do not have something bothering them on their mind. That is why a lot of facilitators I have seen start with a very simple breathing exercise in the beginning of the session. They just make you ask you to take in deep breathe in and breathe out sessions for a couple of minutes. So your mind relaxes. Even if you have something running in the back of your mind, you are able to calm your mind better and focus. Again, bring in attention, generation, and you have more positive emotions. So use stress is good for learning and work efficiency. Distress is the opposite of learning. You cannot learn. It only stresses you more. It brings in all the stress hormone, brings down the dopamine, and of course, leading to burnout. Okay, so simple things that we can do to bring in that happy emotion. Before I bring in that list, I want to hear from all of you. I know we're all experienced facilitators, L&D professionals here. One thing that you have done to maybe bring in that optimal emotional arousal, bring in that happiness or that relaxation in a session. Please share with us. Anything that you've done, it might have worked, might not have worked. This is the forum to discuss because, yes, Yogita, please go ahead.
Yeah, in my sessions or workshops, I start with a very light meditation, but I carry that traditional bell with me, and I make the sound of that bell, and it's giving me a very nice impact.
Absolutely. I can, when you just set the bell, I started imagining it, to be honest. But yeah, I think that's a very nice way to start, set the stage for learning as well. So thank you. I will try that maybe in my next session. Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes, ma'am. It's me.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, actually, I'm working in a sales and marketing department, and while showing the presentation to our customers or prospects, so before going with the corporate presentation, we all start with the case studies which we have. I mean, case studies as in the pain points which customer had before, and when they come to us, what's the solution we provided. So when we start with the case studies, it might be it's more than a kind of interactive and as well as interesting way. I feel like this.
Okay,
Hello,
I'll
am
just
I audible?
announce. Hi. Yes, you are, Karthikeya. So
Yeah.
for some reason, Preeti got dropped out of the meeting. She'll be joining again now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
sorry,
yeah. Preeti,
Kartikeya,
are
you
you
were
there with
saying,
us?
yes, I'm back. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, suddenly
Yes,
Teams
you are.
decided to remove me from the meeting. Maybe I was talking too much. Yes, Kartikeya, go on.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, I am working in a sales and marketing department in one of the MNC company. So whenever I start with the presentation to our prospects or to our customers, which will be visiting us very frequently. So before going straightly with the corporate presentation, I'll start with the case studies. Here, case studies as in what are the pain points they had before coming to us and what is the solution, exact and precise solutions which resonated to their pain points. Everything will be drafted in a single case study or single page, so which will be more interactive and as well as attractive to the customer, so that we can win more orders. So this is how it works with Keenan.
Okay, so basically you're saying you're going to put all the data that is required in a more assimilatable manner, and you're giving them in a very concise document or a slide. So, you don't have to move from one slide to another. Basically, their attention is in one place because all the data they need is in one place.
Correct.
Okay, great. So I have a suggestion. I don't know if if it is relevant or not. Why not start with the good news before you're giving that data? Maybe give them a data which shows what's gone well, and then go to the pain points. Do you think that will work? That'll be a
It will
positive
work.
start to the entire discussion. If that is not the agenda of the meeting, I'm sorry.
No, no, no. It will work, but the pain point here, as in the pain points which they had. I mean, pain points from the customer before coming to us. So here the good news is the solution which we provided.
Oh, got it.
Yeah,
I
that's
got
the
it
case.
now. So sorry.
Yeah,
Okay. So basically, you're telling them all the pain points of the customers that we've been able to solve,
correct.
right? Okay. Then that is
And
the
here the
good
good
news.
news is solution. Yeah.
Okay. And what is the solution you used, or what is the approach? Okay. Very
Yes, yes.
nice. That is actually showing where we've gone well, the wins that you've had. Perfect. Very nice. That is actually a good way to start the session, and you're doing it with very accurate data. So it's, I think, builds a lot of credibility in the beginning of the discussion itself. Great.
Yes, ma'am.
Thanks, Kartikeya, for
Thank you.
sharing. Anyone else who'd like to share? Okay. I've made a list of. Yes, please.
Yeah.
Please go on.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, now you are.
Okay. So I do a lot of, maybe, to begin with, so just to, focus on just to be delivered. So, this would be a
Apnish,
particular.
so sorry to interrupt, but your voice is breaking. Is it only for me or for everybody?
No, it's
We're not.
breaking.
For everyone.
We're
It's
not able
breaking.
to
Voice
Yes,
is breaking.
understand what you're saying. We know you're saying something, but we cannot really understand. Do you
Okay,
want to use
so
the
might be probably there's a poor network is cracking, I guess.
Do you want to use the chat window, Apnish? We'll wait. We really want to hear what you try. So do you want to just type it
Sure,
out in the
sure.
chat for us? Yeah. Okay, while Apnish is typing, anyone else who'd like to share a technique or a very simple activity that has helped you create that
Preeti, if I
emotional
may.
arousal? Yes, Balaji, we can hear you.
All right. So I conduct an activity called Find Someone Who on the first day of the session, where they have to, I give a list of sentences like find someone has, who watched an English movie this week, find someone who attended a seminar last month. So I have a set of sentences like this based on how many number of participants are there. So now they have to ask questions to everyone because they cannot repeat the same names. And so this way they practice framing questions. They also get to know others. And it's an icebreaker that I do in the beginning of my trainings.
Oh wow, that's a very interesting activity because you are actually encouraging them to talk to each other and ask questions in the right way. That's very nice. I'm going to use that if you don't mind going forward in my sessions as well.
By all means.
Thanks, Balaji. Thank you so much. We will just wait
No,
for
no.
another minute. Maybe Apnish is typing in the chat. Anyone else in the meantime would like to share?
We got his message.
Yeah. Okay, Apni's message is here. I do memory testing exercise quite often. For example, showing a slide with 10 to 15 objects for 5 seconds and then telling audience to list down. Okay, that's a very, very fun, I think an activity my parents used to make me do in school, in my childhood, so that, no, they can keep me busy for a few minutes at least. But yeah, that's a very uh, simple yet powerful technique to get attention and also help them focus in one thing. That's a very nice technique. Thank you, Apnish, for sharing that with us. So I have listed out a few. We have another activity towards the end where I will want to hear more ideas from all of you. Something that I could list out. Please start with a story instead of a slide. I think starting with story really brings in that emotional connect. We all remember the stories that our grandmother and grandfathers told us in our childhood and all the morals that we learnt along with it. It sticks. Stories are sticky for a reason, and that is why they've again been used for many, many generations. So start with a story that can be inspiring, that can be relevant to the topic, or can just bring in humor. That is also a very nice way to lighten the moment and facilitate learning for all the learners. Yeah. Next, use emotional charge questions. Ask reflective, emotional, engaging questions that can actually trigger memories related to what you're discussing, which is very good. So, emotionally intense simulations, role plays. When I say emotionally, we are not talking about just happiness or extreme emotion. We are talking about things that maybe they have experienced in life before, in their workplace before. It can be simple as, suppose I'm doing a session on conflict management. I pick scenarios which I think are relevant to the cohort. For example, I think Kartikeya told us he's from the sales. I would pick a very common sales conflict scenario, maybe talk to the cohort in advance and pick a scenario that they can relate to. As soon as you see a scenario that's being discussed that the participant has maybe experience, they immediately connect to it and they listen better. They're able to retain retain what they've learned better too. So this is also a way of positive reinforcement of what they should be doing, what they did earlier, help them reflect as well. All right, and encourage any activity that triggers dopamine, like the activity just Balaji shared with us, the meditation, anything like that. The report that what went well, that is also actually bringing in a little happiness hormones. And most important of all, to keep emotions in mind, please put yourself in the shoes of the learner when you're designing a program or delivering. If you were on the other side, would you sit and listen to this entire lecture yourself? If the answer is yes, then you will continue. Yeah, bring in music, imaginary things. Another powerful way I've seen is what's in it for me. Call it out why it matters, why this concept will have an impact in their job role, in their career growth, for them, in their personal life, anything. Connect it to them. You will see people responding to the learning activity easily. All right. Okay. So, do you all agree with what I'm saying so far? Apnish has messaged, in the morning itself, I tell audience to close eyes and count the number of steps from entrance to the chair, color of the door, first thing they saw, moment they moved out of the house. Okay. Apnish, can you let us know how this actually helps in the learning process? How have you seen this having an impact on the learning process? Like an
Uh,
icebreaker?
yeah, am I audible?
Yes, now you are.
So actually, it is something like there is something which is called as subconscious mind.
Okay, we heard something.
Wrong.
Again, I could not hear you. I'm so sorry. Maybe we'll wait for your chat message. Is that okay? Okay, we'll wait for you to send us a message in the chat. So we've covered three, in the acronym AGES, we've covered A, G, and E. That is the attention, the generation, and the emotion. And the last is the spacing. How does spacing your learning, or spaced learning is what we call, actually affect the whole learning experience, retention, and the ability to be able to apply what you've learned as well. So this is a very famous forgetting curve. I think Shanti had mentioned this in one of the posts recently, yesterday or day before, on LinkedIn as well. This is the Herman Ebbinghaus famous forgetting curve, which basically says a very simple concept. From the day you've learned a concept to day 7, if you do not revisit what you've learned, the retention percentage can drop from 100 to a 10% easily. This is based on a lot of research, of course. So the forgetting curve says it is important to revisit what you've learned. It can be a concept at work, a tool that you're working on. It can be a yoga asana also. Anything and everything that you've learned needs to be revisited again, at least in the first 7 days, for you to be able to remember, apply, analyze what the concept is altogether. Okay, so this is another research, basically data from California State University, that was done based on, if you revisit what you've learned, maybe on day 1 you study for an hour, that is the new concept that you've learned on day 1. If you revisit it day 2, day 7, day 30, even for 10, 5 and 5 minutes, your retention, understanding still stays high. So it is very important that our learning journeys, whether you're designing or delivering them, is designed in a way that the participants revisit the concepts in over a period of time. When they revisit it, the whole act basically facilitates retrieving all that you've learned and uh, strengthening the neural connections that have been formed. The neuroplasticity video that you all saw, where you take the same path again and again, that is when that neural path strengthens. So being a civil engineer, it is building, learning is like putting cement on a brick, but revisiting and spacing and revisiting what you've learned is like curing the whole cement, so it hardens and it stays in your mind. All right, so yeah, I hope that was an example or relation that you can understand and remember. So this is how the spacing really facilitates learning. Another very, very interesting point I came across is how you can amplify the strengthening of these neural networks by introducing very simple activity, that is sleep, between these different junctures of revisit. When your mind goes through a deep sleep cycle, it is seen that the whole neural path strengthen, amplifies, it magnifies to a great, great extent. Sleep is a huge factor on how much you can remember in terms of what you've learned, and how much you're able to apply and understand and synthesize on what you've learned. Also on the Bloom's taxonomy, it's not just understanding, remembering, it's also being able to synthesize what you've learned and come up with different innovative ideas as well. Sleep is a very important part of this entire journey, because sleep is not just rest for the body, it's active consolidation time for your brain. Your brain basically replays everything that you've learned, new experiences you've had in that day, right? In that one sleep, before the sleep cycle, it actually transfers the whole information, strengthens it, moves it from short-term memory to your long-term storage. That is how retention gets better when you introduce sleep between these revisiting windows. Yes, are you all with me? Yes. So this is about spacing. Why spacing of your training program is important. When I say revisit, it need not be participants opening the book, going through the notes, going through the slides again. It can be a simple MCQ that you're asking them to answer after a week of the session. It can be as simple as you giving them a case study or giving them a scenario. How do you think you will solve it? Where you're forcing them to go and revisit what they've learned In their mind, they will think, okay, beyond the ages model, okay, A works here, G is what this is. So you're basically pushing them to revisit what they have learned in their mind and further analyze it in the scenario or the case study that you've given them. So that is how sleep actually helps in strengthening your neural pathways of learning. And I have a few, I'll say, takeaways on how you can ensure spacing in the entire learning journey. Please do not overload learners. You don't have to teach them everything in one session, in a one sitting. Plan spaced learning interventions. Break it into smaller chunks, more no digestible chunks, the bite-sized learning that we call today. Especially today with the reels, I think our attention span has gone down. Our capability to store too much information has gone down. Our learning interventions have to evolve with how our brain is evolving and the type of information we are overloaded with from the social media. So it's very important we plan it accordingly, right? So another important point is avoid scheduling critical assessments immediately after the session. They will obviously remember it. Please give a day or two's gap. That is going to help them in retrieving that information and revisiting it. All right, I think the rest of it we've already discussed. And of course, please encourage sleep during the sessions. That's a huge, huge help. So this was the AGES model, which is a neuroscience-based framework that helps us understand how our brain learns and how taking care of these small intricacies can help facilitate learning better. So I didn't want to leave you all with a very heavy framework for you to revisit. I wanted to give you very quick thumb rules, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe when you're designing or delivering a session, you can just check, okay, do I have this 1, 2, 3, 4 in my session? Then I'm sorted. My learning intervention is going to be sticky, right? So that is why I have a very simple acronym for all of you, which is based on the AGES model that will help you check if your learning intervention is sticky. Okay, this is a word that all of us will surely remember. Being facilitators, L&D professionals, learners, right? We meet them, we talk to them every single day. So that is your acronym to remember to double check if your learning intervention is sticky. So what does it stand for? Links, emotions, attention, repetition, novelty. This is one aspect that I wanted to discuss. Novelty, bringing in a very different concept, triggers curiosity, triggers that dopamine. Actually, to be honest, it does trigger dopamine. That is why you like it when you have new experiences, when you go see a new place, when you suddenly come across a new concept, a new movie, right? That's novelty. So it's very, very important you bring that in your sessions. Exercise, I think Balaji brought it out really well, that activity where you're supposed to walk around in the classroom also and ask each other questions is physical movement. It does create a very comfortable environment for learning to happen in our brain. So exercise is directly proportional to how much you're able to learn, retain, and revisit later. So physical exercise is very, very important. And of course, meditation is exercise for the brain. So that's, I think, Yogita, that's an amazing technique you told us. I'm also going to try and use that. Recall, review, recovery. We've already discussed that. And stories. Stories are sticky for sure. So now we have one last activity. I want all of you to tell me how the learner, these 8 thumb rules you saw in the session I delivered today. I've tried my best to make sure these 8 thumb rules were taken into consideration when I designed the session today. I want to see if it actually was effective or not. So what were the links? I want all of you to share. So when it comes to links, where did you think I brought this in the entire learning journey for the entire concept to be sticky? There is no right or wrong answer. Anything you say, I'm going to say yes, because that's giving me credit. So please go ahead. Yes.
Are you talking about links, as in linking the concepts or link the URLs
Links,
that you shared?
Oh, no, no, no. Correct. Good, you asked me that. Links is basically how I connected one concept to another, something that you already knew, linking it to some other memory you had. That is links. And maybe linking it to how you can actually put this to practice also. That is also linking. So, where did I use it in the session today?
The first thing that you myths and facts, there we got linked with the session very closely.
Okay.
Then you got our emotions through our childhood memories. Then
I linked
by
the
that
Doordarshan.
singing pattern,
Okay.
you is the attention part, I
Right.
think. So it
Okay.
was well designed. Very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Yogita. Thank you so much. Balaji, would you want to share something? Links that you saw? Anything different from what Yogita said?
Something that is familiar. It was on the video actually. The
Okay.
familiar parts that we travel comes to mind, like the brain quickly, rather than the unfamiliar parts. So that is something I could connect with.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you. So basically, links, my endeavor here was to link it to something that emotionally connects with all of you. It was the Doordarshan music. It also brought out the whole idea of generation, how our brain immediately connected. Just from the Doordarshan music, you all went to mom's kitchen, you smelled the coffee, though it was not in front of you. You smelled that filter coffee and chai. These are generations. These are the new neural pathways that were generated in your brain so that you remember these concepts for long. Yeah. So this is nothing but, so what L is, it's actually linked to generation of your ages model, right? Next, emotions. I think you already answered it, but I'm still going to wait for a few of you to share. Emotions. How did I bring in emotional elements into the training? Did you feel it was force fitted, or did it just come with the flow and facilitate the whole learning?
When you asked me to share my recent achievements, that I could connect, um,
Yes.
because yeah.
Great, Rupa. Thank you. I automatically got your attention. And when that was a story that you shared, and people love listening to stories, I immediately grabbed the attention of the rest of the 1920 of you also. And you shared the story, right? So, again, emotions is again emotions. Basically, bringing emotional elements is taking care of the E of the ages model. Attention. How did I hold your attention during the session? What are the tricks I used to hold your attention during the session?
I
Guys,
think
with
it's a
just
package deal. It's a package deal because there was a connecting. You were asking us the question. You were making us reflect on what practice is. It's a very intricate. It's very impactful, visible, yet it is so invisible. Actually, it's like
oh, thank you. Thank you, Rupa. I think that's the best compliment a facilitator can get. Thank you so much. Um, I see two or three of them have logged out. We just have last 5 minutes, very, very important part of the session. So please stay with me. Repetition. Did you see I was repeating a few facts again and again? Did you see I was trying to make your mind take that neural pathway again and again? Something that I wanted you to go back with. Yes, Balaji?
Now what you're doing is a repetition.
Exactly. Thank you. So I'm making you think what we learned already. I'm helping you connect it to the ages model, and I'm also getting ideas from all of you on how you will implement it. This is a way of repetition, recap, and also facilitating you apply these learnings as well, right? But did it. I did this repetition at the end of the session. I did it in the middle. I spaced it well so you revisit everything that we've done, right? So this accounts to the spacing. We were revisiting and repeating at correct junctures in the entire process. Yeah. Next, novelty. What is that new concept that I got for all of you where you were like, oh, I didn't know about this. Oh, is this really true? Because when I gave you that novel thought or that new fact that I knew, I immediately grabbed your attention. It is again catering to the attention in your ages model. The male and female brain wiring, was it a new thought and an idea that all of you came across? Yes. Did it not grab your attention immediately? It did. I saw a lot of smiling faces. The cameras were on too. So I'm quickly going to the next. Exercise, of course, is linked to emotions. When you exercise physically, there is more dopamine levels. You are open to learning. Your brain has a more comfortable environment to learning. So that again adds to emotions. Recall, review, recovery. This we've been doing again and again, not just repeating. I've been connecting it, and maybe I will plan a few uh, you know con- uh, connects with all of you going forward in the next few weeks, so you recall, review and recover. And I please request all of you to complete that deep sleep cycle the next few days, so you remember what you've learned from the session. This also adds to the spacing. And last, stories. I think stories I don't even have to explain. This is an age old technique used by all of us that immediately creates new neural pathways, connects those links in our brain so we remember better. So just remembering this 8 takeaways, 8 thumb rules, I can say. When you're designing or delivering a program, ask yourself, do you have LEARNERS? And you're sorted that your learning is surely sticky. All right. So thank you so much, all of you, for sitting through the session, for being such great audience, for sharing your experiences, for singing for us. It was really great delivering for all of you. So I want to understand what has been that one key takeaway for you from the session. One thing, top, I hope it's a long list, but top of the list, what is that one thing that you are going to go and implement immediately as a learning and development professional?
It's me. Uh, in the attention slide, you just mentioned that it is a sustained focus limit for adults is just 20 minutes. It's a key takeaway for me because most of our prospects and customers are adults only, and I could improve in this space so that in order to grab their attention, I should work more on this. So this is the key takeaway. Thank you so much.
Great, Kartikeya. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
And regarding the session, it was so interesting, and I look forward to attending more sessions from you. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I'm quickly going to the next slide. I want to hear takeaways from all of you, but I have a feedback QR code here. Just scan this. I assure you the feedback form is also very interesting. I've tried to keep it as interesting as possible. It's not too many questions. It's just 5. I want all of you to fill it out, please. This is a good way for me to reflect on what went well and what could be better next time. While a few of you are filling feedback, please unmute and share what you think. What has been your takeaway from the session?
Can I share something?
Yes, Ishita. Yes, please.
So I have, so while curating the content for learners, I always focus on how I want to deliver it. As to usually when I'm making the PPTs, I'm like, I have 3 PPTs just to talk about the same thing, 3 slides talking about the same thing. And at the end, when I'm in the flow, practicing the flow, I usually pick which one will suit the best. But I think with the ages model, I'm going to now look at what repetition I'm going to believe, what bring, or what hands-on experience that activity is going to give, which will be the decision maker for me, how I want to retain, which slide I want to retain. It was a lovely session, Preethi. I loved every bit of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ishita. Thank you so much. It makes me very happy that you've already planned how you're going to apply it. I think that is what is success of a training intervention, that people are already planning how to apply these. So thank you. I request all of you to please quickly scan this QR code and share your feedback. Not going to take more than 5 minutes, not 5 minutes, not even more than 2 minutes. And if anyone else wants to share their key takeaways, please do. I really want to hear them. I am also sharing my blog page link in the chat window. It's called Apologies Magpie. I write about my learnings as an army wife. I write about my learnings as a working woman, issues women face in the society. I write about my learnings as a behavioral trainer and coach. I also write my learnings as a musician. These are all the mistakes I've done and learnings I've had from different mistakes. I like with a dash of humor. I would love to get all your feedback and your comments on these articles. Please take out some time to read them. I'm also sharing my LinkedIn profile. If you want to connect with me to tell me what you agree or disagree with in what I've delivered, please do. If you want to deep dive into any topic, you want to question me, you want me to have a discussion, I would be more than happy to. And it'll be great if you can give me a shout out on LinkedIn and share your feedback on what you think your learnings from the session was, how you felt the session was. Please do tag me. That will be a great thing to see for me on LinkedIn as well. I'm sharing my LinkedIn profile too. I'm hoping I've already received a few feedbacks from all of you. Anyone who would like to unmute and share what they thought about the session, what their key learnings are?
I have a question, Preeti.
Yes, Rupa, please.
Okay. Okay. Over the years, in the last 2 decades, when I've been in the corporate L&D, I've seen the a lot of changes in the approach of L&D. One thing that I want to call, as in, bring out is the time of the training. Are you there, Preeti?
Yes, I'm right here. So sorry.
Yeah.
Please
Okay.
go on.
So there's a lot of change that has happened, a lot of changes. The content is now an open source. And even the infrastructure of the training has changed. Before 2015, people had to come to a classroom and then be part of the learning. And when you were walking through your concepts, for me, everything got back to the classroom. While the next half a decade, we had the in we were delivering in teams, and the technology also evolved. Then how, as a facilitator, now micro learning has come, which is typically what reel we call, but it's a micro learning. So all of them play a different role. They are all impactful if we take it. But then how do we switch all the design element? What are the how do we what I learned is it's a learning experience design. So now what elements in that to make this dish for different timelines, what is the intelligence one need to apply? Because now I'm thinking like a facilitator. Yeah.
I think this is a very interesting question, Rupa. Thank you. There is no one answer. I think uh, every cohort is different. If I'm delivering the same topic to Gen Z audience completely, my approach would be different. The same if I deliver to maybe millennials or even seniors, my approach has to be different because our way of learning has also been different. And not just the mode, I think our mindset, our uh, purpose of learning is also very different. It's evolving from one generation to another. That is one consideration. Second is, of course, the mode, whether it's a face to face or a virtual mode. Maybe we can connect offline, Rupa, and discuss, maybe pick very specific techniques that we've been using in a face-to-face session. How can we, transition that or tweak it to cater to a virtual mode of delivery, and how it can cater to a Gen Z audience, how it can cater to somebody who is here just for information and not for applying. So there are very different audience. So we might have to tweak it for everything. So it'll be great to connect with you separately and discuss this in
Sure.
detail.
I'll send a
Sure.
message early.
Yes. Great. Okay. Um, I hope this was something that you will remember for a long time and revisit, keeping in mind the spacing. If you want to revisit, please ping me on LinkedIn. My number is, of course, everybody part of the GWS group have. You'll find me on the group as well. I'm looking forward to connecting with all of you. This is just the beginning. I'm sure this will begin a lot of different interactions and discussions for me to learn from as well. You've all been lovely audience. Thank you. Thank you so much. Lovely learners, lovely L&D professionals who asked me questions that made me think myself. I think that is something that I look forward to as a facilitator. So thank you very much. I think we're well within the time. Thank you, Ishita, for setting this up. And thank you all for putting up with the reschedule. This was supposed to happen in the month of May, but because of a few things in my personal front, it couldn't happen. And I was so happy to see all of you are still logged in, though this was rescheduled. So thank you, Ishita, for making it happen. Thank you, Shanti. Shanti is not here, but I saw Pawan was here. Thank you, Pawan and Shanti, for this lovely community. Looking forward to attending and facilitating many more sessions.
Thanks, Preethi. On behalf of Shanti and myself, it's really a privilege to hear you out. And it's our second interaction. The first one is, as you said, memory is still alive. I heard you singing, and that is still afresh. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you so much. Have a great evening ahead. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Before I let all of you go, just a thought. Preethi is a part of GwS Learning Guild community, so feel free to reach out to her for any such queries or any such questions that you may have had during the session. Plus, you can also, I have shared her, even Preethi has shared her LinkedIn link on the chat. I'm going to also share that in the WhatsApp group, so you have that handy. Feel free to reach out to her and, of course, take time to say hello. And if you want any further sessions from Preethi, let's start tagging her and telling her that we want a session on this.
Oh, yes, that will be great. Thank you, Ishita. Thank you.
Wonderful. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your time.
See you.
Have a great evening.